Hi folks, Dino Bob here. Welcome back to Bettatu Park. Today we're going to be messing around in the swamp. You see the zoom in to the area where I'll be working. And we're going to start jumping into the speed belt. Um, I'm laying out a little bit of wall here along the path, as you can see, and trying to set up what I want for allowing the animals to get pretty close to the fence but not letting them endanger the people. You'll see I'm also using fence in several other places around the habitat, rocks in other places, sometimes rocks over fences. Also now roughing out the little shelter for the animals. Um, I want them to have an upper part of the exhibit that they can go up to if that's what they want to do up there on that sort of plateau. Um, but most of them will probably be spending their time down in the lower part where the water is. At least the first guy's going in. So unlike a lot of my other videos, you're going to see a lot of the setup to do the landscaping and the terrain painting, and also bringing in the vegetation. One of the things you'll see me doing is putting things down with the terrain brush and sticking with more or less one kind of plant at a given time, and then going back, selecting the groups of plants and then combining them all together into a single group for the habitat. Uh, this, to my understanding, helps the game a little bit by having fewer groups to keep track of. It helps me by having one group for the habitat that I know if I'm messing with that stuff, I can mess with any of the plants in there without any trouble. So I didn't use the dirty water for this one because it's the lake that came with the map. Uh, but I am leaving a lot of vegetation in there to represent, water weeds and such. Uh, the overall effect I wanted was kind of a gloomy swamp. So the building you're seeing me put a shell together, you'll see later in the video as part of a tour of how it ended up. This exhibit also has a build for something for the guests. This time it's a sort of a shade structure. And it's vaguely similar to something that I did for the Protoceratops. Um, I had a little trouble doing the build, getting the stuff to rotate nicely and keep the bases the way I wanted them. I wanted it to present a more or less uniform surface at the base. It didn't work out very well, so you'll see me going back in and making a bunch of adjustments, trying to keep the spacing on the ribs of this structure, and also keeping the bases presenting sort of a smooth, curved face. It just took a little bit longer than I wanted it to, but the end result seems to have worked, and I kind of like it. Uh, it's different, and I think I may even pick up this whole radial shade thing as a theme for at least part of the park. Uh, Different versions of such things. We'll see how that goes. I just don't know. One of the things that happened to me is that I had to rebuild the path a couple of times to smooth it out and get it working nicely. So here we're taking a tour down the way the guests will come to this shade structure and be able to take a look out into the habitat the way they would and see our animals. Because this is a swamp for Pseudoceratops. Pretty classic early game build animal because it's a 2-star and available at the start of the game in most of the versions. They're out there prowling around, and this gives you sort of a panoramic view of what the guests can see. That's the genetics lab in the far distance, way past the what are those? The cattails that are screening the fence to keep the animals from leaving if they get into the water. During the course of shooting this, I noticed a number of things like the star-topped columns on the fence that needed to be fixed, and being able to see that fence through the cattails. I've gone in and fixed up some of those things, make them a little bit nicer. Uh, the fence got fixed when I had to go in and mess with the path and make it a little more what I wanted it to be. So there's one of our new pseudoceratops. Yes, give us a yawn. Spin around, check out your new habitat, see if you like it. You like it, cruise around for a while. Got another one waiting in the water over there in the distance. Maybe we'll get a little bit closer to him in a bit. Our guests certainly won't have this view from this side, unless they integrate helicopter ride in the game, they won't have the aerial view either. This is about where I noticed that I had those water weeds sticking through the lily pads, which was a non-starter. So we're going to jump into another little bit speedy bit, and I'm going to take those water weeds away, take some more of them away because I decided there were a little too many, do some more terrain painting to make it all look a little swampier. And there's no need to see that in real time. But bringing some of the mud all over the habitat and just getting a little bit more of that swampy vibe. Thought that would just be better in this exhibit. You just don't always know everything you're going to do with an exhibit when you get started, and that's usually to the good. I think it was here. So there's our little Nasudo. I think that's one of the girls cruising through the lily pads, and another one cruising toward us for a little bit. And as he goes off on his way, we'll go visit the building and zoom in on it. You can see it's got a frontage of wood now and ivy on the exhibit side where the guests may see it. We'll go inside. We have someone here enjoying the sunlight while he takes a little rest. And a lot of the props that you see there, the benches and cabinets and a little freezer there, stuff I built. When we eventually have a steam workshop, those will probably go up. The ones in that corner, of course, are standard. And I built a rail fence with an implied gate so that our keepers can get in there and take care of the animals. And that's pretty much it for this time. You know the drill, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. All helps get the channel a little bit more attention. It's Dino Bob signing off. Take care.